Welcome to episode 341 of the Shared Security Podcast. And this week we're going to be talking about the largest IT outage in history. That's right, folks. The CrowdStrike update crash that crippled systems worldwide. We all know, we all remember. Where were you on that day? We'll be talking to our grandkids about this, right?
No, we won't.
Or not. But
Yeah.
CrowdStrike definitely caused a strike or something to that effect. But just to remember, kids, the most secure systems are the ones that you can't access.
Yeah.
So
for a while, we had total security.
yeah, but they did a great job with that. And then in our Aware Much segment, Scott is going to talk about an AI system in Japan called Mr. Smile, which is attempting to assess and standardize employee smiles across the workplace.
Who knew?
What could possibly go wrong? And speaking of things that never go wrong, look at this. Kevin is back. He has graced us with his presence.
I'm so glad that I never go wrong.
Slightly
Not that I've gotten
disguised,
wrong.
but yeah.
You're perfect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So good to see you back. I know you've been busy, and we joke every podcast, Scott and I, of like, when is Kevin coming back?
Kevin doesn't
Here
even
you
know
are.
where Kevin is.
Kevin doesn't even know where he is.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I don't
Yes. Welcome. And before we dig into things, I did want to give a shout out to our latest Patreon supporter,
Nice.
Susan. So thank you, Susan, for
Yes.
supporting the podcast. Much appreciated. Scott, people have listened to your pitch
Yes. Yeah.
from
yeah.
that one episode to support
Yeah.
the podcast.
Now Tom won't have to eat beans for dinner.
I know, right? Yeah, exactly. And if you would like to support the podcast, you can do that at sharedsecurity.net/supporter. And you can join Susan and our other supporters. It would be much appreciated. And with that, let's talk about CrowdStrike and the largest IT outage in history, because a lot of news outlets have called it that.
Wow.
Do you agree? Do you guys agree that is the largest outage in history?
I don't know.
8.5 million
Machines.
Windows were
I think
affected. currently.
depending on what you're measuring, the answer is obviously yes. Like, I think though that, and I believe that on pretty much any measurement, we're going to find that it's the largest. I just don't know that we can say that yet. And I don't know. I don't, I guess my question is who's tracking? But I did find it funny that it was less than 1% of the Windows machines deployed.
That is an interesting statistic.
Yeah.
Actually.
And I'm quoting that Microsoft said it was 8.5 million machines, which is less than 1%. Now, that makes perfect sense to me when you think about the fact that home users, your personal Windows machine is probably not running
Yeah.
CrowdStrike,
Yeah.
whatever. I think the big point is that less than 1% of the machines appear to be the most integral in functioning. Oh, right. I did find it funny how many security people ranted about why you would make these machines directly accessible to the internet. And I actually interacted with one of them. What do you mean?
Really?
Like, why do you think this is directly accessible to the internet? Because to me, when you say this machine is directly accessible from the internet, it means that I can hit an IP address or a domain name and I talk to that machine directly.
Yeah, makes
And
sense.
a number of the people I've talked to, and that number is more than zero. Because zero is a number. I always remember when I say that, like
Yeah,
a
zero
number
is a
of- yeah,
number.
zero.
You are right.
But in this case, it was more than zero. Are now referring to directly accessible from the internet if the machine can reach out to the internet and get stuff. Have you
Yeah,
heard
that's
that?
wrong. That's wrong.
Like that's what I thought. Okay, thank you, Scott. I'm like, no, that's not how. That's
Internet
not the
connected does
definition of
not
that.
mean accessible from the internet.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Scott. Their argument's the wrong word, but their argument was because I could respond with something if they asked me. If I tricked them into asking me for something, I give them something. That meant they were accessible from the internet. I'm like, that's a CBSS.
Yeah. Isn't
And,
that just basic networking? Like, I mean,
So that means
Yeah,
every
right.
machine in the world practically is
Most-
at some level.
I'm not as much of an engineer as I used to be, but there's the polling method and then there's the outreach
Yeah.
method, right? And so most, I guess it's the outbound method. So most devices these days or applications set up some kind of protocol where they check once in a while to see if there's
Yeah.
something for you or for me that I will request. But that doesn't mean I'm directly accessible from the internet.
I agree with you 100%. It threw me off that I had never heard anybody refer to it that way. And like I said, more than one person said it to me. Oh yeah, this is, like, I don't think that means what you think it means.
Yeah.
Inconceivable. But
Inconceivable.
I'm really hesitant to badmouth CrowdStrike on this one, right? This sucks. And I want to be very clear, right? This was bad. I think that anybody could do this. Oh, we've seen it before. Not
this
to
is
this
not
scale.
Yeah.
Here's the thing I think more people need to talk about. How fast Microsoft gave good information about what happened. This was not their outage. This was not their system, not their control, not their... They had no... it wasn't their monkeys, wasn't their circus. Yet, I feel like the best information we got about what happened with CrowdStrike came from Microsoft. Maybe I'm wrong. That's how everything I've read, all of the good information, the good, hey, try this, do this, this what happened, here's how it worked, this why this happened, either directly came from Microsoft or was somebody talking about what Microsoft said.
It is their operating system. And affect them.
But we have badmouthed Microsoft. We as an industry have badmouthed Microsoft to the point where the minute the outage happened, how many people did you see saying Microsoft has an outage?
Yes.
Microsoft's
I
down.
saw that.
No, wait. I was impressed. I was really impressed by Microsoft on this one. Not so impressed by some of the stuff coming out of CrowdStrike. Yeah, I agree. I'm waiting for, and I haven't seen it, so correct me if it came out already, but we take your security very seriously. I've not seen come out of.
And have you received your gift card yet?
I think the $10 Uber Eats gift card was funny. I'm probably going to be skewered for this by somebody, but I've never had a vendor give me something for screwing up my system, and I've had lots of vendors screw up my system. So
that's true.
The fact that they gave something,
I'll take it.
Yeah. And by the way, no, I didn't get it. I will also say that I saw a number of people say this, and I laughed every single time I saw it. Every time I saw it did not get old for me, but that the $10 Uber Eats gift card was better than another year of free credit.
Oh my God. I love that.
Actually,
I love that.
I would agree with that statement.
I agree with 100%.
We all pretty much will
credit
have
monitoring, which we all know is useless.
Yeah.
Or $10 from Uber Eats, which might get me a Starbucks.
Not only that, but we all pretty much have sustained credit monitoring forever now. Because there are so many breaches that affect each of us.
Exactly. So, it's ridiculous. So I saw that, and I saw a number of people post it, and every time I saw it, I literally laughed out loud. This is not an emoji LOL. This was me actually laughing out loud every time I saw it. It was awesome.
So I'd like to take this in a different, slightly direction, but just the whole idea of how does this impact businesses? What can businesses learn from this? And it reminds me, don't patch. It reminds me of, we've talked about this not too long ago, Tom. I can't remember which episode, but we talked about automatic updates and how they can go wrong or how they can be vulnerable from a security point of view. Of course, I think something got injected into an update recently that was a security threat and spread really quickly. Can't remember which story that was. But similarly, in the vein of accidental impacts like this, you might remember in July 2022, 2 years ago, here in Canada, Rogers Communications, which is probably our second biggest telecom across Canada, had a significant outage that affected 10 million. And Canada has 30 million people total. But it was caused by an accidental push of a BGP router update.
Yes. Yeah.
I remember.
And that kind of thing can happen if you don't have proper planning and maybe even simulations of your network that you can try stuff out on and see if it's working, because it's especially disturbing when it impacts your automatic updating process. And all of a sudden, if you break that process, you can't get anything back online. So I think that's one of the lessons learned is just do a lot more. It's the old cut or measure twice, cut once from carpentry.
I'll say, though, that one of the issues here with this one is it really wasn't a patch, right? CrowdStrike treated this as a content update and the same level as, hey, did you update the spelling of my name on the website right? And I know it's different, that type of content update. I will say, though, it's funny that you mentioned the Rogers outage because I couldn't remember the company, which telecom it was that had the outage, but that was actually one of the ones I was thinking of. when I said, depending on how you measure it.
Yeah.
Because hitting 10 million people out of 30 million people, that's a third of.
It's a little bit more of a percentage.
Like when you're, and that's why I say all stats are made up on the spot. But that was actually what I think it's funny. That's the one you brought up.
Yeah, that's true.
In it directly going to what you just said, I think that I think the big deal here is that for organizations, businesses that were impacted by this, or businesses that might have been impacted, the biggest thing I would say to them right now is don't switch.
Yeah.
And I want to be clear. I'm not saying don't ever get rid of CrowdStrike. I'm saying don't do a knee-jerk reaction of this organization broke my stuff. Let me switch to whatever. If that's your reasoning for switching, don't do it. Just stop. Now, if you have other reasons, like you've been thinking about it, that's different. But I saw way too many businesses that are like, who should we switch to? No, stop, back up. This is a core defensive system.
Yeah.
At least I would hope your people know how to use, right? Like
and it's not a crappy product.
Well, it's a good
to
product,
be honest.
right?
It's a good product, and the technology is good. It just, if anything, I think when your contract negotiation, maybe you get a little bit of a discount for your renewal. I agree with you guys. Let's not just dump the vendor and go to someone else. And I'm actually happy to see, I haven't seen any of their competitors like SentinelOne and others like capitalizing on this. And now I know next week or this week is Black Hat when this episode will be released and DEF CON, but we'll see what the vendor floor at Black Hat looks like. We're not going to be like CrowdStrike or whatever. I hope that's not the
I would
case.
like to put Kevin's comment into a different context, or perhaps a different context. And that is, don't switch because of one data point. This is to put this in context with LastPass, right? First time we noticed LastPass had an issue. We're going, don't panic. All password vendors can have vulnerabilities. But then we started to learn more about how they manage their code base and their communications and all that stuff, right? So this is just a data point, right? And it's maybe strike one, but as Kevin said, probably not worth switching over.
I want to be very clear. If this is your reasoning for switching, I would not do it. If you have other reasons, I'm okay with this being the final nail in the coffin type of thing.
Yeah.
Right?
If we've already got a few strikes,
Yeah, we've been thinking about this for 6 months and oh my God, they broke my stuff. Then that's a different conversation. But if it's everything's working well for me, everything's good, screw those hippies or something, we're switching, that's not a good idea.
Are you still relying on outdated managed file transfer tools? In today's world, the security of your sensitive data is more critical than ever. Introducing Kiteworks, the most secure and modern managed file transfer platform available. Kiteworks is audited yearly and continuously monitored by certified third-party assessors. With an ongoing bounty program, regular penetration testing, and one-click appliance updates, Kiteworks minimizes vulnerabilities like no other. Many traditional MFT solutions can't compare to the level of security and functionality Kiteworks provides. But that's not all. Kiteworks offers a world-class secure file sharing and email platform. Easily send automated or ad hoc files through fully integrated shared folders and email. Administrators can manage policies in a unified console and create custom integrations with their comprehensive REST API. Step into the future of secure managed file transfer with Kiteworks. Visit kiteworks.com to get started. That's kiteworks.com to get started today. All right, Scott.
Yes, Tom.
Are you ready?
Before we get into this next, may I ask one quick question?
Yes.
Are we all supposed to put on really fake smiles while we talk through this? I want to be prepared. I want to know. Should we need
Yes, starting in 2 seconds.
Okay.
Because this next segment is, Kevin, your favorite segment. Where much?
It's been too long.
There's a smile.
Hey, Tom.
That's not a fake smile, though.
I'm a little concerned today, though, because up until like 10 seconds ago, I noticed you've been smiling significantly less today than in previous episodes. And I'm afraid... No, Tom.
Oh,
Me?
okay.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, Kevin
Wow.
smiles all the time in the episodes.
Maybe
Yeah,
I need
I-
something to help me with my smiles, Scott.
Yeah, I
Ooh,
think
yeah.
I'm afraid your smile score has been on the decline,
Ah.
and that just won't do. It
Womp
doesn't meet
womp.
our standards for the Shared Security podcast. We will be putting you on probation until your Mr. Smile score increases. Of course, I'm just joking, but don't you hate it when people tell you should smile more?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
According to Mr. Smile, which was developed by InstaVR, some employers like Aon, I think that's how you pronounce it, in Japan, are now using AI tools to monitor their customer-facing staff's profiles to see if they're smiling enough. And Aon has 240 shops around Japan, and the company is obviously doing this to improve their customer experience, but is this really a thing? What do you guys think?
Yeah. This is like, I don't know. I feel like Big Brother is stepping in a bit to make sure that your customers are having a great experience. But then by using AI and facial recognition and all that technology to like make sure that I'm sure it's not done in like a malicious way. It's nice and fluffy and kind and all that stuff, but it feels just very kind of Black Mirror to me
Yeah.
that we're now like judging people's facial expressions.
Yep.
And that is thinking about privacy and worker privacy and things like that. Because we've had the conversation about some employers are installing monitoring software on
Yeah.
computers, webcams being enabled to make sure you're at your desk. And to me, it feels like it's a very similar type of thing that's a little bit invasive.
Yeah. It reminded me of that movie, The Circle, right? Everything's gamified. Not that I hate gamification, but this is gamifying the business process, not gamifying the training process. But still, it does raise questions, right?
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
I've worked a lot of, when I was younger in my jobs, these weren't careers at that point, but I've worked a lot of fast food restaurants and I worked retail, customer facing, sitting on the floor, helping people in the department. And this is the natural progression from what you had previously, right? Now, obviously, I'm not saying that's okay. The idea of taking video of your employees and feeding it through a system and then dinging them somehow for not being happy enough or whatever, right? Just seems ominous and bad. But I know I worked at Walmart for a while. I worked in the electronics department, and the number of times my manager would come by, or the store manager or shift leaders or whatever would come by and be like, "You're not smiling enough. What are you talking about? Not smiling?" Like the one I always got was, and I probably shouldn't say this, but I hated wearing that blue vest. And so I know this will surprise you, but I just didn't.
Wow, shock.
I know. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this. I'm not wearing that vest.
Where's your vest? Oh, it must have fallen off.
Yeah. Oh man, I don't know where it is. Shit. I'm sorry. And I would keep it under the register in the electronics department. And basically I didn't wear it. And manager would come by all the time and be like, "Hey Kevin, why aren't you smiling at people, helping people out?" I'm trying. I'm talking to people. I just don't. I'm not smiley, right? Like we're talking about CDs and TVs and computer.
Yeah, it's like the scene in Office Space where where's your 28 pieces of flair?
Yeah.
And it's the same kind of thing. You have to make our customers happy for the experience.
And talking about that, let's flip it to the other side, right? The article that you sent over talks quite a bit about when they surveyed people, whatever, that customers were saying, yeah, this is like harassment because they're fake smiling.
Yeah.
It's not a real smile. I don't want
right.
And I'm like, man, that's harassment. I don't
know if I ever even notice it, but I guess it's in the category of when you walk into a clothing store and somebody accosts you before you even get to the part of the store you want to browse in, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how can I help you?
It's stores where it's immediate. Hey, do you need help? I don't know, man. I'm barely in the door. I'm
not even sure why I came in.
Yeah, I'm lost. But I don't know. To me, it's what we're discussing is something that, in my opinion, is absolutely going to be right. They're taking this video, they're feeding it to a third party. The third party is analyzing it. However, they're doing that and saying not smiling enough. You don't meet your smile quotient for the day. The next thing is, did they interact enough times with the customer? Did they upsell the right number of things? Did they abuse their time by looking at their phone 15 times while like that. This is just one step to the next. And I'm not, y'all know, I think I've been recorded enough times. I'm not a doomsdayer on AI stuff. I love this stuff, not this, but AI in general and machine learning. But this is just one more step down the path of how much can we take lower wage employees and screw up their day.
Yeah. And eventually, like you say, the next step, but what's like the ultimate step is replacing them with robots who have all those attributes that ring the bells and make the outcomes what you want, but it isn't the human experience anymore.
Yeah, the whole thing is, I understand why people would want to do it. I really do. I get it. God, it's dumb.
Yeah. This installment of Aware Much is brought to you by ClickArmor. And it's important to recognize that employee culture can be impacted by a lot of different things. And whether you agree that you can improve your customer experience by teaching employees how to smile or just teaching them how to give a better customer experience, that's something you could argue. But I think what I wanted to point out here is that all kinds of impacts on culture come from the employees learning. And we could even say that if employees are not doing what the organization needs them to do when they're interacting with customers or data, then there's a risk. And so that's how I tie this all back to ClickArmor's value in bringing risks down by helping people learn what they can do to perform better. So you can learn more about the benefits of our gamified interactive training and book a call with ClickArmor at clickarmor.ca. And that's it for this installment of Aware Much.
Thank you, Scott. This week, the week that this episode is being released, is Black Hats, or as we lovingly call it, Security Summer Camp is the other name for it, because there's B-Sides Las Vegas and Black Hat and then DEF CON at the end of the week. I will be out there the whole week. Kevin, I'm not sure. Are you going?
I was looking at going. I'm not going this year.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And I know, Scott, you're not going.
Will not be there.
We haven't seen you out there.
No.
Yet.
Someday.
That is a yet. That is a yet.
Yeah. I will be out there. If you see me, please stop and say hi. And I will have Shared Security stickers with me. If we happen to meet, get yourself a sticker. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's always a fun time of the year, even though it is Las Vegas. Not a big fan of Las Vegas, but is anybody really a fan of Las Vegas? I don't know. I mean, it's 130 some odd degrees there.
I do know people that love Las Vegas. I'm not one of them.
Yeah, I'm not either. But anyway, with that, I'll let everybody go. But thank you all for listening. And until next time, stay safe, stay secure, and stay private. Thanks for watching or listening to this episode. Be sure to subscribe wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on X at SharedSec, and help support the podcast by joining our Patreon to get ad-free episodes, bonus content, and many more exclusive supporter-only benefits. Visit sharedsecurity.net/supporter for more details.